Well, we have a professional party planner, event planner, in fact, here who has been put to the test. We asked her to tap into some of that same creativity that she uses, quite frankly, for A-list celebrity weddings and parties. And then we said, put that aside. Who wants to do that all the time? And plan a party for kids with stuff from, of all places, the dollar store. She pretty much laughed in my face when I brought this, kind of challenge to her. Cicely Rocha-Miller of Life Design Planning, joining us now. And, every once in a while, you got to get out of your box.
It was.
The celebs make it too easy on you.
I was biting my fingernails when we talked about this, and I thought, how am I going to be able to pull off something that looks great, from start to finish, and wasn't too tchotchkious, and because you walk into the dollar store and it's really overwhelming.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Well, on behalf of all moms and people who like to save money, and who have this really weird fascination with the dollar store, you are now hugely relatable. You are our hero.
I am.
So let's start with some specifics.
I am. Okay, well, first of all, you have to have an invitation. And so from these, we actually just found these really cool foam backings, and we used them on some other pieces too. But I just printed this off my printer, and it was just a little bit elegant other than just a regular
just
paper.
A little piece of paper.
Exactly. Exactly. So, anything in regards to decor. Of course, balloons are always a huge thing. So we bought, tons of little balloons, had them blown up at the dollar store for $1 each, super, super inexpensive. Came with the string and everything. And also something that was really cool, Stephanie, is if you see over here, there's these big punch balls. Do you remember these when we were a kid?
Yes.
Well, these also can be turned into decor where it's hanging down. Balloons are always thought about going up, so why not take string and utilize these and hang them from coming down?
Right here.
And then you can cut them, we can save the rubber bands, and the kids can use it as the punch balls what we had when we were kids.
Fantastic
so decor
idea.
as well as a fun activity for the kids.
Okay. We'll have fun with that.
Exactly. So of course then we have our centerpieces, and so these are really fun. Candy, I got a big ball of candy with all these different lollipops that came together for $1. It was like 10 lollipops. So we made this candy, centerpiece, and then these are actually fly swatters. They were really colorful. We stayed with our theme, which is obviously very colorful and rainbow.
I'm a creative girl, Cicely. I am.
Fly swatters, yeah.
That would have never come to me. And I think that's why they pay you the big bucks.
I guess so. I don't know.
And I just probably just get the balloons at the dollar store.
Yeah. This was different. You definitely have to think out of the box. But the great thing about the dollar store is that they do have a lot of things that are, you just walk in and walk out and you've got, everything that you need.
Now, how do we avoid making it look kind of cheap, though? Because none of the stuff that, at least in person, looks cheap to me.
Well, I mean, you honestly, you do get what you pay for at the dollar store. I mean, it's certainly not lavish. But the thing is that you have to stick with a theme, stick with specific ideas, and don't try to just buy stuff that's already pre-made party stuff.
Okay, so you're going to have to get creative.
Exactly. I would say that's a huge key, is really getting creative. I mean, for instance, these hats, of course, they're, great just on their own, buy them out the door, but why not? We found these little foam balls, and we found these stickered letters. We can utilize these, and then you just kind of upgrade on the party hats.
How much fun did you actually have, though, going in there?
I had too much fun. It was overwhelming walking in, but walking out with, a bag full and only spending around $40 or $50 for all this stuff, it was
Looks like you've also got some containers, too.
Well, and the cool thing, again, you can utilize this for, chips and salsa and dip and such, but why not, have, you or a husband or something drill a hole, and these can be hung, on the walls, or they can even be flowers.
I'm not, like, wow.
Right.
I'm in awe.
Dollar.
Yes.
Dollar.
Okay, I'm totally down with that.
Yeah, I mean, a 1-year birthday party, you got your 1-year candle here, you got to give the kids something to do. So for $1, we found this molding clay,
Think of like little stations where you can make it look colorful and creative and have fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. And stuff that, adults can do as well. So for instance, we found these really cool mugs that are able to be written on by permanent markers. So we even purchased the markers there, and then found these mugs, it says create a mug, and so we created our own mugs, really easy thing to do.
I could have really used you before I put down a little bit of money on my son's first birthday.
Tell me about it, sister. I'm right there with you.
Well, and then even these sorts of things here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an upgrade to a specific paper plate. You can always do ice cream and cake, on a paper plate, but why not get these for $1 and maybe even just do them for the kids or something? They're just so much more fun.
Budget-wise, though, because when you go in there, and I've been guilty of this before, you go in there and you think, oh, it's only $1. I'm going to buy 20 of these, and then you end up using 2 because you don't have your plan. So help us avoid that
Well,
pitfall?
you really, first of all, again, go with a theme. That's really important. Also, go with what are your spending parameters? You know, what is your budget that you want to stick within? And it's really easy to keep track of your cart because it is $1 for everything. So as long as you stick to that, have a theme in mind, come up with some ideas even prior to, and just be inspired. You know, you can always take stuff back. Unfortunately, they don't typically. A lot of the stores only give a credit instead of cash back. So,
but there's always another party to plan.
There's always another party to plan. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Cicely, thank you so much.
Sure.
And we should mention that we have recapped these tips on sonoranliving.com. But if you are looking for help with weddings, she does plan A-list celebrity weddings, and even down to just the people next door type of event planning as well. So if you're looking for that event planning on a different scale, you can reach her at the phone number right there on your screen. We have her website information on sonoranliving.com.